didn't really show too well in the LCS when he did play it, but those kind of champions, those supports, might actually really throw a wrench into the gears of Deathly and Matt, who have been more successful into those more safe lanes where they do get the counter picks.
It's interesting because Lost and Treats are like this interesting duo lane that like works because they're so different in style. Lost is extremely good at team fighting, very safe, not the best laner. And Treats is a super good laner, loves to roam, loves to outplay people. And like Treats kind of does a great job of guiding Lost through the 2v2s and then leaves him to go do other stuff and roam. And then once it hits mid game and late game especially, Lost can take over from there. So very interested to see how the bottom lane looks out. But across the board, this is an extremely exciting matchup. It is 2nd versus 6th. TSM were at one point the easy #1 team in Academy. And they're going to first pick Caitlyn for Lost, which is a very good start to any drafts.
And very strong start as well, because we were talking about denying that Caitlyn away from Deathly. Sure, you get the Ashe instantaneously, but already a Lilia. I like this. I'm curious to see if they're going to be holding it as a flex, because Lilia is extremely strong in the top lane against tank matchups. Probably going to be sitting in that jungle, however, because of the fact that it's so early on in the draft and TSM will have time to react for it. Not to mention Dokla would rather have fighters anyways.
So to recap the bans quickly, because it is related somewhat to Lilia, Galio, Nidalee, Twisted Fate, Akali against Evolve, which is a good one from EG, Graves versus Shen. Set picked up now for TSM, but the other thing that is good about Lilia is that, you know, there aren't very many good AP junglers in the game. There's kind of usually only one, and right now it's this champion. So if Gyu wants to get kind of fancy with an AD assassin, he has that option as well. So I think that flexibility and the fact that it gives you a place to put AP where it's very difficult to otherwise get, and the fact that she's just a good champion, I think Lilia is going to be played by more teams as we see more games on this patch.
Well, what's also great about it too is that it has the fastest clear time in the game at this moment. So it really helps reinforce Anda's aggressive play style of getting in, starting to do the counter jungling, have safe lanes who he can sort of mediate and referee in a sense to always have priority, so he can push in and make those safe plays in the enemy jungle for TSM Academy. But the Aurelia locked in as well. I was not ready for these spicy picks, Pastry. It's already hot and it's getting hotter.
See, it's interesting because TSM should have been ready for this one. This is one of Gyu's signature champions, and I'm almost embarrassed that I forgot about it because it gets banned so often when Gyu's in the game. So I mentioned that Lilia opens the door for an AD mid laner. I kind of like the Lucian Hover because I think it can be very spicy as a counter pick to Zoe, but go with the tried and true, go with something that you know Gyu can carry on, and is decent into Zoe as well. So already EG setting themselves up very nicely in phase 1 of this draft.
Yeah, so you have strong laning phase in the mid game with Gio on a really good comfort pick. You already have Deathly on the Ashe Caitlyn situation, so you can really hold back on those supports as well. Like we already saw the Morgana taken away, so TSM can really try and break down the top lane a little bit more. We do see the GP ban as well from Evil Geniuses to sort of force them off to that security pick for Dokla. There is still Camille available, but honestly, I don't even think Dokla would try and run for that. He might try another split pusher or roamer as well, even though Shen as well is taken away in the beginning of the draft.
Yeah, Dokla and actually Kumo as well to a smaller extent has really been the rock for their teams at top lane in a lot of cases. Speaking of rocks, Malphite getting banned by TSM, that was an accident, I swear. We'll see what EG want to pick up here first out of phase 2.
They might contest an Ornn. Like you could go a tank to sort of be not only the mid-range engagement tool, but also like help disengage and create some zoning pressure. It does really well, but honestly, I don't know if Dokla will be comfortable into that, and he has to blind pick in. There's already still a lot of things available, and there's also Kumo's Volibear, which is a really favorite of his in the Academy scene, so that is up for grabs, and if you go into an Ornn, he does have the counter into that, so might decide to pick something a little bit more fighter-esque. As we mentioned, he does really enjoy those. I'm looking at his other picks. Renekton is still available. R5 Renekton could possibly be a thing for Kumo as well, and for Treats he could pick at B4, and there you go. Dokla decides to go with the Croc.
Yeah, I kind of like this choice here. Ornn, as you mentioned, is just not nearly the same like blind pick force that he used to be. It's really tricky now with Camille and Fiora potentially running around in top lane. But I do like Renekton, super good blind pick, a comfort pick for Kumo. He was the unsung hero of their 3-0 versus 100 Thieves to me. So I like this blind from Zoka. Kind of sets up the top lane to be fine, if not even decent for you, depending on what Kumo wants to opt for. And it wouldn't be Treats returning to Academy without playing Braum. This man has played so much Braum in his time on TSM Academy.
Yeah, it's immense. I think he's played out of the 8 games that he was in Academy with it just this season, he played it 4 times. So 50-50, pretty darn good, and he's extremely strong on it as well. His stats are amazing. Though going into Nautilus, it just tells you that they're going to try and play it safe, try and zone out, walk around Winston to sort of counteract Anda's counter jungling style. And there was the Volibear that I mentioned earlier with Kumo, the more comfortable pick, really strong at dueling in the early stages as well. So it's just going to be stat check versus stat check in that top side. And the rest of these compositions lined out, these mid lanes looking really aggressive. And honestly, if you do get some sort of jungle advantage into these bottom lanes through a gank or a contestation at a dragon, they could really get out of control.
Yeah, it feels very stable on the TSM side, right? First picking Caitlyn, take a safe blind pick top. This is like pretty prototypical blue side draft, right? Evolve's also not trying to get fancy. He's playing Zoe, I think one of his most played, if not his most played champion of this split, and certainly a champion that is very good in a lot of like blind situations. I am really curious to see what Lilia gets done here for Ander. I think Ander is a very good aggressive jungler when he's playing on form, as you mentioned, and Lilia is the champion that we're still like wanting more data on, because there just have not been very many pro games yet. And even the one we did see in Academy was actually a top lane game as well. So this could actually be the first jungle Lilia we've seen in Academy. Don't quote me on that because I don't have it pulled up. But certainly Ander is a player that is always on top of the new jungle picks by Jungle Morgana in the end of spring as well, if you want to know how deep he can go in his pool. So very curious to see what he can get done with this pick for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be very curious as well. I'll like to see if Stats would be able to help us out on finding if the Lilia jungle was played in either Academy or LCS. I believe it was played in LPL. So there is success to it, mostly because it's a counterpick into beefier front lines, right? And it's actually pretty successful in its own way. Not to mention, if you do get that extremely fast clear, it's under 3 minutes. Like, it goes super fast. You can get to the scuttle really quickly and then just dominate from there and do exactly what Anda likes to do. Counter jungle and be aggressive.
See if we can look that up at some point, but we at least saw it from Santorin in the series we just saw from the LCS, so certainly has seen some success. Also, Dardoch played it. Of course Dardoch played it. Thank you, producers, for looking that up. If you ever get a blind guess a player to play a new meta jungler, always guess Dardoch, by the way. Dardoch or Ander, they're really good at just playing the new champions. They love it. So shout out to producers and stats. Thank you, Tom, for looking that one up very quickly for us.
Yeah, thanks Dardoch as well for playing it, because now I can sort of look back and see how well he did on that end, but we'll have to see how well Anda does it now as we are onto the Rift.
Alrighty, let's go for game 1. TSM Academy versus Evil Genius Academy. This is the first time we've seen TSM Academy since the postseason started. As a reminder, they finished second in the regular season, barely missing after falling down a bit with the support changes happening with Cloud9. Kind of retaking, I guess, their rightful place atop the standings in Academy. But Treats is back, and just in time for playoffs here for TSM, as the teams will fan out across the Rift, and Anders going to be prancing around.
And man, look at how defensive these summoners are as well. It's double cleanses on both Evolve Lost and then Gyu and Deathly respectively. Exhausts on Treats and Matt. They're really going to try and dampen down this burst damage from both of these compositions. And honestly, you gotta respect it for that exact reason. I'm going to be curious to see this pathing with Anda as well. He did go Phase Rush, so that's going to be more of a tanky path, right? Like, you rush into the Runic Echoes, you go for the Leandries, maybe a Rylai's, but honestly, you kind of go Deadman's Plate second as well, just to really make sure that you're constantly kiting the opponent and having that movement speed constantly up to be catching them, chasing them down, and whittling them away with your sleepy poison on her passive.
You can see Anda going to go ahead, take a Lucius clear, getting on the Raptors. Makes sense. As you mentioned, this is one of the single fastest junglers. I believe you said the single fastest jungler as far as unanswered clears go. Winston, all on his lonesome as well, but going to be quite a bit slower on the set.
Like, look at that. Already level 2, was able to take the chickens pretty quickly, and is already down onto the Krugs, taking that one fairly fast. Like the Q true damage stuff is honestly ridiculous, to be fair, and it's so sustainable as well because you can constantly tick with the healing regen that you get from the talisman. So we'll have to see how quickly he can get to those scuttles so he can help out these lanes, get some pressure to prepare for those objectives, and really get Evil Genius's composition online, because looking across the pond, you don't want to be going into this mid-game even, right, against TSM's comp of Renekton, Zoe, and Set. Like, they will bully you fairly quickly if you don't have the beef on your bones to really survive it.
It's even funnier to me too, like looking at Ender playing this champion, because his Nidalee was so prevalent in their series versus 100 Thieves. It's like he just found a better farming AP jungle. I was like, yeah, I'll play this one instead. He's going to smite away the red, and he is zipping across to his right side of the jungle at level 3 already. Winston also going to be doing the same. He's full clearing his blue side after taking his red buff away. So I don't think these junglers are going to meet each other at any time soon. We'll see if anything else can kind of happen here, as mid lane will certainly be one to watch. Right now, though, it does seem like Kumo looking good in the top lane, getting a LCS lead.
He went Dorn Shield as well, so he's going a little safer, but hold on, Gio going in. Very nice on that cleanse.
Yeah, kind of knows it. It feels bad to just like eat a bubble at level 2 or 3 and then have to cleanse out, but you have to respect the power, especially with the jungler being there, which he had a pretty good intuition for. So now Winston going to face check Volibear. Hey, this isn't the jungle Volibear, what's happening? Winston going to get slapped around, Kumo going to try and slow him down. Haymaker is actually wearing off. Great bubble, actually. I think that's going to save Winston's life. And Gio's going to eat some damage in return.
That definitely saved his life. You were seeing Gio getting ready to flash in with the Dancing Blades, grab the stun for that first blood. But thankfully for them, they are still able to get away without any lives being lost. It does lose the scuttle pressure, though, and this is where Anda can honestly do a double scuttle strat. He has the movement speed for it. He can immediately prance on down to that bottom lane. And you can see already, Deathly and Matt are with the priority. Matt's making sure that there's no Winston trying to take this scuttle. This is a massive boost with that gold department for Anda to get to that Runic Echoes, or possibly his boots fairly quickly, and keep up the pressure. Because when Set jungle gets behind, it really does feel painful in that situation, and with these lanes being tempoed, Anda's doing a great job making sure that he's conducting the priority splendidly.
Yeah, admittedly, jungle is absolutely my worst role in League of Legends, bar none. But every jungler I talk to, any person that knows anything about the jungle, which for me is just about everyone else, they all say that getting 2 crabs is the best feeling in the world. So great job by Anda picking those up early. He's going to be off to the races as far as speeding up that clear going. Sorka's blade already done for Winston, though, but as you said, feels bad for Set when he falls behind. He really just wants to kind of cruise up to the ulti and then start looking to make plays with his strong abilities and decent base stats, although they did get nerfed slightly, poor Set.
Yeah, poor Set indeed. Like, thankfully he did get the earlier back so he can try and hard rush and get to level 6 faster, but Anda hasn't even recalled because of how survivable Lilia is in this jungle right now, so he can just do a second clear, see if he can actually, let's try and keep track of this, if he gets to level 6 by 5:55, I think he can get to it, or 6:05, somewhere between that window. He gets to level 6, he can start throwing down the bowling balls on the E for Lilia, and really just cause some chaos to prepare for his first blood. But already, even though it's a calm start, I kind of hate it for Evil Geniuses being calm, because they'd rather be in these scrappy situations, but the fact that so much pressure is going over into Anda's favor, it's not too much to complain about.
Yeah, I think we'll have to pay pretty close attention to not just at level 6, but, you know, when does Anda's first influence across the lane happen here? We've already seen Winston again looking at pressure here in mid lane. He's hiding in the shrubbery, waiting for Gyu to face check, but Gyu's not interested in that at all. There's also that first dragon that is could be started up in relatively shortly. Teams tend to take the first one between 6 and 8 minutes, so certainly another place where action could erupt.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the actual strength of Lilia soloing a dragon, but just making sure you have that river control is always a nice reprieve, as we see Winston seeing if he could smell out Anda for a counter gank onto this bottom side. Actually might try and start one himself. Yeah,
3v3. Treat's going to get it started. Q again going to smack Matt as he's back in Academy. It's the Treat's prom looking for the stun, but it's not going to land in onto Matt. Instead, Deathly is going to get the arrows peppering in, and Winston's just going to walk on out of there.
Nice disengagement there from Matt, though, with a flash just out of the jaws of Treats' concussive blows. And With that, it means that they're able to keep pressure in this river so Winston can't try and sneak that dragon and solo it by himself. Thankfully, he has the tools to do so, but not the tempo for it either. And is still level 5 because of just how awkward of the timing his back was. There were no camps available, there were no scuttles because he took both of them anyways, and he wasn't in a position to counter jungle either, so he's a little late in that department, but now I get to see how good a Lilia is when soloing a dragon.
Damage looks good, the face tanking looks not so good. Oh, this is Cloud Dragon, which does deal a pretty significant amount of DPS relative to the other ones. So EG are going to group up their bottom lane. They already had priority with Deathly and that anyway, so that's an easy first straight take there for EG.
All right, splendid. And it's really going to help them out to create pressure going into this mid-game. You have the engagement tools on Deathly and Gyu, to be honest, not to mention Anda with that sleep if he decides to really flash in and cause some chaos with that phase rush for himself. But with that teleport from Kumo, they say, all right, we've got that dragon control, let's TP immediately up here. They're not looking for the rotations, it looks like, for their bot side to flip up to prioritize this Herald, because it's only 7 minutes and 50 seconds in. Sure, Herald's going to be up pretty quickly in just a few seconds, but I don't think Winston's even going to try and contest for it. And honestly, looking back and comparing this first game to how their last matchup was in the regular season, Anda and the rest of the EG have really made improvements. Mid lane is staying very stable. Evolved isn't getting out of control. He's keeping even in CS, and the rest of the team is really making sure that there's a short leash on TSM Academy.
Yeah, just keeping track of everyone here. It looks like Dokla is trying to get a foothold here in the top lane 1v1, but Kumo is staying nice and stable. If he scoops up this whole wave, which it looks like he will, should be, I think, 1 CS behind if I'm any good at maths. Looks like 2 because I'm not good at it, but very close regardless in the top side there. Oh, was 1. Come on, man. I trusted myself.
I've learned to never do math on.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
It always bites me. I'll always come back and be like, oh, he does like 200 damage when it's 400. It's like, oh, it feels bad, but he still got the kill anyways. But we haven't seen a kill yet either in this game. We're 8 minutes in. I'm hoping to see one around 10, 12 minutes, to be honest, but we might be seeing one shortly because Winston is level 6.
Yeah, 1 tower plate up top as well for Dokla, so not a whole lot of pushing and contesting happening right now. Winston does scoop out the ward in the Dragon Pit though, so he's back in mid lane once again. Evolve going to look to set it up. Gyu goes in. That's a very good time to start things, as Evolve is going to have to look for that bubble. Here comes Winston with a dash back there for Gyu. Means that he's okay. Now he goes back in with the ultimate. Going to get pulled back there, but Winston can't find the angle back around to charge Aurelia into the turret. So it'll simply be a flash for Evolve as Gyu does answer well.
What beautiful dancing as well from Gyu, going in, getting the trade, and he had the minions already prepared to dash right back out and get the reset. Splendid job from him, also with the disengage, but here we go, a fight for Scuttle.
Winston looking for the grab, but could be put to sleep in just a moment. Good ace in the hole. Actually does pick Anda there for a decent amount of damage. Dokla onto Kumo though, but he's pretty tanky there. So not really something they want to do. Instead, it's TSM rotating their dual lane up first. They will look to take this Herald away, but definitely is not that far behind, and Matt is at the scene already.
Yeah, and you can throw the Enchanted Crystal Arrow if you want to try and catch up for the fight. We have to look for that, but it looks like Herald's going to be given over. His flash from Dokla.
Yeah, Dokla on, gets exhausted, but he gets the stun down first. Good off there from Treats. Asleep goes Dokla, as Anda's trying to get away, but the stun onto Matt. That's first blood there for Lost, as the Pengus fly high, and now they're chasing onto Kumo. Bubble is barely going to miss onto the volley there, and TSM, they get the first Herald and the first blood.
A lot of tools used from the side of TSM Academy, so I don't think they're going to be able to really pressure this advantage anymore, but unless Kumo decides to just stay a little bit too long. But it was a great re-engagement and planning from TSM Academy. Dude, this is what I'm talking about, Kumo staying too long. Hopefully he's able to get out and not lose his life, but looking like they're going to get some bear hide for themselves.
Base broken, Stormbringer, oh, they just wait so patient. Winston, they're not going to pop the ulti because here comes definitely going to force the flash out. Now Kumo looking to turn things back around. Lost says, I don't want to be here anymore. Definitely with the slow, Stormbringer's not, sorry, W's not going to hit. Stormbringer already burnt as Treats is up here as well. It's a 3v3, but TSM do not have a health advantage, so Treats is just going to hop on back to Lost.
Very close call there from Kumo, but Evil Geniuses are able to disengage, man. And let's just look at this Herald fight once more. So this was after they had already won the pressure going over to them, and Dokla immediately having that rush jumping in onto Anda means that there's no way for them to contest or re-engage back on this fight for those sleeps. And then the rest of that was just a splendid catch and just targeting from the rest of the squad from TSM Academy, grabbing that first blood.
Yeah, we actually saw this a lot from Kumo on Renekton in their last series, where Renekton doesn't seem like a champion that's going to be all that interesting, especially with this kind of Blade of the Ruined King, Death Dance, Black Cleave Cleaver build, but if you could get into the middle of an enemy team, it's so annoying to get Renekton and peel him off your backline, or in this case, your fairly squishy jungler. So Dokla hiding in the brush, getting the flash down, and just locking down Ender for that first blood is a very good look. We'll see if he can replicate that in larger engagements. Top scuttle though is going to go to Ender, who is forced to smite it as TSM are continuing to exert pressure here on the top lane.
Yeah, thankfully, Dokla and Winston kind of have a champion that plays similarly. As long as you have Flash, you can make an engagement and start those fights. Winston, he does have Hex Splash available, but he is spotted by that Scrying Ward, so going to be in a little bit of concern because we have Anda available. Winston getting engaged on by Matt.
Yep, put to sleep again. No rooted first. There's a sleep out from Lilia. Ooh, good block there from Truth. Puts up the Unbreakable as Anda is getting shot to pieces by Lost here as Deathly is firing back. And everybody's going to walk away, but very close call there in the top lane 3v3.
And the damage is just not there yet for Evil Geniuses Academy to really finalize any of these kills against the beefier members of TSM Academy. Here's Gio though. So
oh no! Evolve is going to kite it out! Gio missed something there after that portal jump. And the Volt is going to get the 1v1 as the tower does most of the work for him. And now bottom lane, Kumo getting ripped apart by this Blade of the Ruin King completed Renekton.
Yeah, and now the stat checks are starting to go in favor of TSM Academy, and Evil Genius is heading into this mid-game, heading into the 13-minute mark, or shaking their head saying we needed to get a lead a little bit better this time around, but TSM Academy, with that Rift Herald fight going their way, has really taken this game by storm.
Winston chilling smite, Kuma with the ulti, might have to use it to get out, but he gets stunned up. He's going to burn it now to jump out to safety, but Winston, little low, doesn't have a blast plant to go back to, already burned his ulti, no flash and no hope. That's going to be him dead. Who's going to get the kill credit though? It is going to be Anda as TSM cannot save their jungler.
Honestly, the best person to get that kill is Anda because his items are a little bit more expensive and it's more necessary for Lilia to have those. Once you get that Dead Man's Plate, looks like they're going to be going for possibly Leandri's Torment second as expected. So once you get that Leandri's, Lilia really starts to be a thorn in TSM Academy's side. But for them, they have vision control over this dragon. Though their jungler isn't there, they can try and pressure, see if they can get a turret down here on this bottom side. But it means Evil Geniuses can sort of recuperate their losses and prepare for this inevitable objective contestation.
Yeah, more than enough time here to move Winston back. He's going to drop the Herald mid. Evolve is going to go ahead and keep poking Giyu as TSM are looking to take their first dragon away for this particular game, and with the Herald pressure, should be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, smart call from them, dropping the Herald a little bit early to make sure that they have that pressure available. They go ahead and start that one up, and it looks like Evil Geniuses says, all right, we're going to go ahead and cede this dragon over to you guys. We don't need it. We're going to see which soul this is going to be. If it's an ocean soul, that'd be great, but unfortunately it's a mountain soul for them nonetheless. So a lot of defenses could be stacked up here from either of these teams because they got to grab 3 mountain drakes to get that soul.
Yeah, not all that many frontliners here on either of these teams, so Mountain Soul certainly going to help. And a scrap, I mean, all the souls are good. There's only one in any game, so teams will be happy to fight for it here as the game does continue, but will be a bit of a longer wait until that appears. Evolve is getting his blue buff taken, doesn't like that particularly much. I don't think he can really do anything about it. He's waiting for the bubble, looking for the steal. Doesn't grab it. It's Anda that grabs it. In fact, I didn't even need to smite. But Evolve was blind there, so kind of tough to steal the blue buff.
Yeah, rather not risk it for the biscuit. Just go ahead and smite it and take it away. No way for Evolve to keep that lane pressure. And it allows you to just sort of recall safer in a sense of just a healthy mind state, right? Because then it's like, oh crap, Evolve having a blue buff just hard pushing into my turret wouldn't be as great of a reason to recall and get your items back online. Speaking of, he went Kindle Gem, so going to be looking for a Spear of Visage, I suppose, for Gyu, that or the Black Cleaver to sort of shred down the members of Dokla and Treats respectively, on top of Winston, who will be going for that Dead Man's Plate in just a short while. And speaking of, they're going to be looking for this bottom side to sort of get Lost and Treats out of this laning phase once more and back into that mid lane to really advance the game state a little bit further in their advantage.
Yeah, Lost already with the IE, has that second crit cloak as well. TP in, good sidestep there for Lost. He's going to have to try and accompany his AD out of there though. Q's going to miss. Kuma's going to jump in, and Lost is going to be forced to flash away, but needs to stun the volley there under the tower. Once again goes the volley as the hook is going to land in onto Treats, but he puts up the door and walks back towards his teammates, and EG used the TP for just about nothing.
That's so unfortunate for Evil Geniuses Academy. They wasted that teleport as well as the Stormbringer ultimate from Volibear with the flash too. Like, so many things just gone and not getting anything, just being doored away. And having to deal with not even getting any damage onto the turret either is an absolute win for TSM Academy, who even in this neutral state statistically, with the gold and the kills all going in their favor, it still feels like TSM.
Oh, they're at it again.
I had to bite my tongue on that one with Gyu just absolutely obliterating Evolved.
All right, so for everyone playing at home, and Zoe is frustrating you in solo queue, which I understand happens a lot. Zoe might be mobile, but she's not that mobile, so we'll hold that thought, because TSM are going to try and get the heist completed with his Herald. Oh, a double sleep after the flash 2 from Anda. Make it 1 there in the top side of the map, and make it 2 as Doka going to get stunned up and taken down by the rest of EG.
Perfect. They did lose a lot in that bottom side, but they're able to make up for it here in this top end. It means they're going to be breaking down this turret as well, getting a massive tempo swing back into their favor, and possibly looking for some kills and some vision control in this top jungle as well to see if they can keep track of the members of TSM Academy a little bit more, because you're prepping for that next Herald, which will be, as a matter of fact, coming up. Actually, it was taken away already, excuse me, as they're going to be looking for more of just Baron pressure, break it down, see if they can possibly prepare for it, because if you look at the Evil Genius's composition, they have a pretty good comp to tear down that objective fairly fast.
All right, well, looking scary, but let's watch this 1v1 again and see exactly how you navigate this. Like I said, Zoe Mobile wants to play 10 grids away from you. Aurelia very good at closing the distance time and time again. And this is just so clean. What a cleanse as well.
Yeah, beautiful Captain Jack cleanse on that one. Splendid play from Gyu. He knows that matchup. And then this is just that beautiful play from Anda. He flashed in to get that double hit from his Q so he could pop that Drowsy. And that just sets up the play for them even more. So splendid job from Evil Geniuses Academy to really double down on that advantage and grab the lead back from TSM Academy. But now the question is in their court. How much can you actually push this advantage forward? Sure, you're able to get a 1k gold lead. It doesn't matter too much. TSM Academy has some strong one-item power spikes on the majority of their champions, so they still have the possibility to look for this mid lane, as we see Winston sitting in the side wave.
All right, Winston going to look to charge up. Definitely the target. Good flash there from the Ashe. Kind of forced out there. Drowsy goes Nautilus, in goes Kumo, and Dokla going to get dumped on here. He's going to be slowed down. Here comes, the bowling ball. Very well placed there by Anda, who's had more than a few games on this champion by the looks of things. But EG at least to force a couple of spells there out of Dokla, as he does have to flash out of there. Hex Flash Matt. Grabs Winston just barely with the edge of that hitbox.
Yeah, bummer on that one, just because he's just slightly over that rock as well, so he's not able to get that additional auto attack in. Not to mention, you're a little bit extended, and with the dragon being up in just under 10 seconds or so, it means that TSM again rinse and repeats, drop Herald mid, force that pressure into that lane so you can possibly contest with this dragon a little bit more efficiently. And with EG, even though they have this bubble around the objective, they have to worry about that Herald who had just been taken down from Gyu, so now all that pressure is once again faded away, back into EG's favor, and TSM is having to play this uphill battle.
Yeah, I really like what we've seen between Aurelia and Lilia, but we're going to have to hold that one because Doka's looking for the flank again. If Renekton can get into the backline and get onto a squishy, is very, very annoying. Doka's going to spin around onto 4 there with the Cold Mig, but definitely lets the arrow fly. Winston taking the front side, and that Haymaker absorbs so much damage, but asleep goes 1 as Winston is asleep at the wheel, but there's Lost going to get the counter kill as Lilia does find it in onto the enemy jungler. Treats on looking to run away. He's got no one to bounce back to as Lost is trying to get it done, but over the wall he goes. Treats is going to stand behind his teammate with a beautiful stopwatch there by Braum, and TSM they'll get out winning 2-1.
I respect that flash from Treats as well. I don't know if how much damage you're going to be doing on that volley, definitely, but they're able to get out with the advantage and with the dragon as well, bumping it up to 1 Mountain Drake for themselves and an Infernal to boot. So with that fight, there was good spacing from Evil Geniuses, but the flank from Dokla sent it all out the window. Wonderful catch onto Deathly, forcing the flash and the cleanse fairly early. So with that all gone, then the backline was really just locked down, and TSM Academy was able to rush in, get them into that choke point, deal a brutish amount of damage with their beefier front line than that of Evil Geniuses, and take that fight for their own.
All right, Winston sort of keep the crab in his coffers. Gonna take that one down as 126 gold pops out. Pretty good day at the office there, as Winston is going to force Anda out of there. Blue buff also going to go over to Evolve, so TSM is going to look to set back up. This is definitely a team that is happy to play slowly, very deliberately, let's say, between objectives. But it's brought them so much success this split, and with this kind of comp as well, building up that gold lead. They're still behind, actually, 1,400 gold as we say that, but you have to feel like with this particular lead, TSM aren't feeling, you know, out of distance at all in this game.
Yeah, and the only gold that they're really lacking is just the farming leaks that they had in that mid lane. Like, it's 174 to 220 between Gyu and Evolved respectively, but then also it's fine because Lost is on this Caitlyn, got that 2-item power spike with Infinity Edge and Storm Razor, so she's going to be dishing out an immense amount of damage. There's no real armor outside of Kumo's Volibear to really answer for that, and this will just allow them to, again, really pressure these objectives. They can threaten with the pokes, they can create the bubble, and Anda has no way of piercing into that.
Yeah, has to get out of there as well. Winston not going to be put to sleep just yet, but the ulti forced out from Matt as a Vol with a snipe.
Nice.
The old Nautilus, no hook either. Going to flash to try and get in the arrow out for definitely as Matt is forced to flash away. And Zoe may be behind in goal, but the bubble's irrelevant no matter what.
So this is the issue now for Evil Geniuses Academy being on this back foot. They need to do the split push style still. They have to do the 1-3-1, put Gyu on the side lane, really force it out to where multiple members have to answer the Aurelia, because I still don't think Evolved is going to be able to answer him on his own, and maybe Dokla possibly could, but then you have to answer Kumo, and Kumo will have that better, more efficient wave clear, can prepare for these objectives a little bit better than Dokla with the teleport deficiency as well. So now it's up to TSM to answer that and force them into these fights. But
here's two flashes. Yeah. Surely he doesn't die. No, he's dead.
Oh. This is what I'm talking about, Pastry. You cannot put Evolved against you anymore. You need another member. And if you have to throw Dokla up there, then you don't have someone to answer Kumo, because honestly, Evolved won't be able to solo kill or give any pressure away for your team. And it gives Evil Geniuses this time to breathe, get some more items under their belt, see if they can grab some additional objectives and farm, like especially get the vision control around this Baron really online, because that's where they're lacking right now. They find the kills, yes, but now you need to really double down on that, get some consequences out of just finding that pick that Gyu was able to find in that side lane, get some wards, get some control, steal some camps, slow TSM Academy's composition down so you can catch up and really punch blow for blow.
Interesting to see I mean, just how good Gyu has been at hunting people in the side lane. He was doing this all series long on Akali versus 100 Thieves, and now doing it again. I mean, Evolved, he's like just trying to catch the wave and leave, and just got caught by Gyu trying to do exactly that. So certainly cannot get greedy without vision to catch these waves in the side lane. Dokla onto Kumo, though, is the next battle, and everyone's going to walk away. It's Black Cleaver Blade done there for the Renekton, but Kumo not backing down. He's working pretty quickly towards that Trinity Force as he has 2 pieces already. And speaking of, there is one absent for Gyu, but as you mentioned, this is an intentional choice for Gyu to go for Black Cleaver instead.
And that's for sort of side lane dueling as well, right? Like now Dokla can't really answer you, and neither can Winston, because they will just be shredded apart by the Black Cleaver, Blade of the Rune King comp that Gyu has sort of itemized for. So being in that more side lane dueling potential, not going for a Trinity Force instead, which is more of that team fight-esque item, it really shows that Evil Geniuses are respecting that they have to play on the back foot in this first game. And honestly, even though you're able to get that Drowsy, I don't know how much else you're going to be able to find. I do see cheats on this top side, so maybe they're going to be able to reward themselves with a kill.
There's a ton of Dokla as a late portal jump is going to maybe mean that Dokla is dead. They're not related, but EG a 4v1 able to easily take down the Crocodile. And Gyu's out.
Oh my goodness, Gyu's able to get out. He didn't use any summoners either, so that's an absolute win here for Evil Geniuses, winning that pressure back, going into this mid lane. They have the 3 members with Anda as well, who can just keep throwing those bowling balls over to slow people down and apply that Leandri's and passive HP shred, and it's going to be hell to deal with, honestly, for Winston, because he's just going to be whittled down ever so slowly to where definitely can say, you know what, I'm ready, let's pick him, we've got Enchanted Crystal Arrow, or say the same with Matt, where you can just hook in and get those wins. Gyu is spotted out in this mid lane, so now it's a 4v3.
Base is broken, Haymaker pop there as Winston's looking for a Dunkaroony there onto the old Gyu, but Anders on a rampage. He takes down the jungler nice and easy, treats there into Stoneplate form. He goes with Unbreakable up, and he's just barely going to live. Ander looking for the sniper, treats, dodges it. Now going to find the Q as well, as somehow the TSM support survives.
Oh, man. And the turret down in the bottom side, Dragon is ready. They can go ahead and go for it now. Evil Geniuses has the pressure. Kumo says, don't worry, I can solo this one. If you go for the risky Enchanted Crystal Arrow pick, I'm going to give you a very strong round of applause, but decides not to go for it. Says, I need that just in case anyone tries to contest this Dragon nonetheless. And Dokla in this bottom side says, we can't do anything about it. Let's seed this one over. Equals these Dragon numbers 2 for 2 now. And though the kills are in their advantage, they've got that 3,000 gold lead. I'm curious to see how big of a differential now is, like gold-wise, economically, between Winston and Anda, because you are 4-0 on Anda, you are 60 CS up, almost 70, and look at that, that is almost a 3,000 gold differential. This is how powerful Lilia clears in the jungle. And the thing is it's a reminder once again, Lilia is strong into beefy frontline comps because she can whittle them away and she can kite them. The fact that Set got picked up into Lilia was such a bad call from TSM Academy in the draft. Yes, they're able to find some kills here from Lost, and he's been able to really rack up those snipes, but they haven't been able to shut down Anda in these jungle situations. They haven't been able to find those picks, and he's been playing so well that he was able to take that early deficit that TSM was able to wrestle away from them and put it back into his team's favor.
Certainly, at least for right now, it's Lost versus the world. He just needs to keep farming. He's almost at item number 3. Like, he has been playing very well to get to this point, and you can see Matt there eating the poke. Oh, I think he's dead. There's the portal jump Evolve with a proto belt behind it. It's going to take down Matt.
Oh, that was disgusting to watch. Well done from Evolve as well, but now we have to see View and Dokla dishing it out.
This is a matchup I haven't seen too long, but Yellow even Ekton wins, was what I was going to say, but Dokla probably knows that there's friends behind EG. No, it's not, it's Gyu. Looking for the solo players, Tree's not going to get stumped, but Dokla does eat it. 4 people now, 5 actually is Evolved, is running back up as well. Yeah, it's just a matter of time here. The tower goes down in one other area of the map as Kumo is pushing the bottom lane, but Lost very quickly. Going to get that kill and go on a killing spree as TSM are going to stop Baron here.
Yeah, that's the only answer they have to say. They can't stop Kumo because someone has to recall, and they can't answer deftly either. This is going to be rough here because you have Kumo with teleport available. This Anda's Lilia can have the possibility to steal away. They take inhibitor as well. Here comes the TP, possible contestation.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 smites. Zoe has 1 as well, so it's really tough for them to really get the Baron, but they will get a kill. They're going to maybe look for 2 as Dokla will fall as well. And EG probably pretty happy with that trade, especially if they can get some more. The Bubble's going to miss from Evolve. That is a really big oopsie, but he had that smite, so Anda's going to flash in. Looks for the sleeper, can't land it. Lost still alive is the critical piece, as Winston's going to go ahead and tank that bowling ball.
That TSM Academy takes the Baron, but at what cost? I wonder if the inhibitor is going to fall from those minions down in the bottom lane. It looks pretty close.
Oh, no.
Oh, thankfully there's a cannon minion right there to block the path of those
There's the savior. Yep, that...
Thank cannon-based God. That amazing play from him to save the day for TSM Academy so the power play can get back on track. But now they don't have wave priority either, so they have to sort of reset it. So honestly, about 90 seconds to maybe even 2 minutes of this Baron buff are just going to be thrown to the wayside because the fact that Evil Geniuses was able to contest it, take some kills away, and they had already prepared bottom side with Kumo pushing in for that inhibitor to make sure that even if they did lose it, there's not going to be a lot of punishment coming from it.
Yeah, certainly still good play from EG, trading very effectively given the situation they were in. Evolve going to TP with one that he found on the ground, as they are going to look to try and get this push started pretty quickly. Also Dragon up in a minute 30, so TSM can look to fall back to that after their siege is complete, but they need to kind of maximize value here. I mean, Caitlyn Zoe is disgusting when you have Baron buff, but you need to get yourself in a situation to actually start the siege first, and so far that hasn't been happening.
Exactly, right? And I'm looking at top side. Minions are getting ready to push in for that first turret. You could send maybe Dokla up there just to push it in. He doesn't have Baron buff, sure, but he could grab something just to make this Baron buff power play a little bit stronger in the end. But Kumo beating down on Winston right now. They might just all in on this with the arrow.
Oh, good block there for Trees. Nusi was going to get hit anyway. Bubble they're going to land in onto Matt. Dokla looking for the angle. Trees taking up a lot of damage to the front side, but Gyu is going to get the stun, but still the answer happens. Winston dives in, does get a good face break, but there's no follow-up from the rest of TSM, as they're still trying to poke down the rest of EG. Evolve's continuing, though, to land bubbles and paddle stars, as EG will win the trade. But TSM still looking effective on the map, as EG have had enough. They're going to push straight down mid.
In 50 seconds, 45 seconds as a matter of fact, until Baron buff wanes away, they've only gained 300 extra gold, and it is just whittling away every second it keeps going. Now only 100, dropping down even farther. This Baron buff power play has just gone absolutely nullified from Evil Geniuses, and they've been doing so well making sure that they can keep this pressure, keep this tempo in their side of the court. And now with Anda on 3 items, as well as Deftly closing in on his 4th with a possible Mortal Reminder under his belt, there's not much that TSM Academy will be able to do against this composition, which can just chase them down.
Well, we'll see if they do want to fight for this next Dragon. It's a pretty important one, as first one to get it will be the first team to hit soul points. So TSM going to set up. They need to poke out EG here. The 5v5 is not going to work out at this juncture.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with Banshee's Veil on Anda as well. It makes sure that he can't get poked out from Evolved Zoe or from Lost either. So make sure that we have that tempo. Gio is on the flank, so we have to keep an eye on this Aurelia to see if he really takes this fight on his own.
Yeah, they're going to instead 1v5 the Aurelia. That is going to give the Dragon over to EG. The Gio is going to fall as a result, so TSM take the easy route. There isn't really a good way for them to contest for that Dragon otherwise, so at least they get the kill there and take the Aurelia down a peg.
Yeah, smart call on TSM Academy saying we, like you mentioned, can't contest it, but we can at least find a kill on the side anyways. But Gyu probably just throws in the hashtag worth on the all chat and calls it a day for himself, as the rest of EG will look to just sort of recuperate some gold in the jungle, clear those camps, and then possibly look for a reset here, though Kumo doesn't have that on his mind, as they're pushing in for this bottom lane inhibitor just to see if they can get some tempo and keep it for this reset.
And also still stalking around the jungle. Lost is going to go ahead and continue cleaning up mending waves here, and they're actually going to successfully steal the red buff away. But EG still staying up about 3,500 gold ahead. They've kind of forced off that Baron that TSM took. They've set up to take the Soul Dragon in 4 minutes time, so it's feeling good on the EG side for sure.
Yeah, definitely just got his Mortal Reminder as well, so he's sitting on a beautiful amount of gold. Not to mention, we do have a Death Stance fairly close to being completed on Gyu, and you look across the board, you have 3 items on Lost, sure. He's pretty close to getting that fourth, excuse me, but it's just a question of how optimal is it going to be against this composition. He's not really able to get a lot of auto attacks in because Evil Geniuses has sort of been detouring around the jungle to where they don't fight him, right? Like we were saying, this game, it's all on Lost right now. He needs to be the one that brings his team out of the mud and rally them together to take this game. But honestly, when Evil Geniuses is like, nah, we're fine, we're gonna continue doing 1-3-1 and making sure that your resources are spread thin, this team fight and pick composition that TSM Academy has built up is not able to go into full effect and swing their favor back onto their side.
Oh, 40 seconds until that Baron is back up. Gyu is continuing to be an absolute nuisance in the side lane. He's actually finished Death Dance already, so this is basically Kumo's Renekton build that we saw from their last series. Joker's got a variant of it. His Renekton here, but he has stopped off at Sterix for a little bit more front laning. But it is, again, kind of interesting to see Aurelia without her iconic Trinity Force, but trust me, she doesn't need it.
Yeah, she doesn't need it on this one, especially with how squishy both Evolved and Lost will be. There's a Bloodthirster from Lost, though, so the one thing that it will help is with that blood shield that he'll be getting from that item on top of the overhealing shield that he has in his runes. It means that he's going to be a little bit harder and not as an appetizing option for Gyu and Anda to really jump onto. But honestly, that's fine, because they can go ahead, look for Kumo on the side lane, say, all right, get some pressure, make sure we have priority for this Baron, let's take out some of that vision. Gyu up here on this top side is constantly making them look up there, and when they try and look on their peripheral sides, they can go ahead and try and whittle down this Baron as fast as possible with Anda, with Deathly, and honestly, they could probably 3-man it, but TSM Academy knows that. They try and get priority back into this mid lane and force themselves into Evil Genius's side.
I will say, for how we set up, Gyu versus Evolved here, and how Gyu's KDA just hasn't looked all that hot, I can kind of see why. Like, no one's going to look at this game and say Gyu hasn't been doing anything, because he's gotten 2 different solo kills, but he's 2-4-4. He has the worst scoreline of anyone on his team except his support Matt, who's going to be constantly the target of attention. So, Gyu may die a lot, but he does get a lot of work done when he does.
Well, even look at his farm too, like 340 almost to 270. Like, it is amazing what he's doing on this Aurelia. I don't think it's going to get through next time around.
It usually doesn't get through in any game, so I agree with you.
So the only bit of concern for me is that he got a Kali 3 times last week. So hopefully TSM Academy doesn't make that mistake. And they also have to deal with this Lilia, who, oh my goodness, that differential, 12,500 gold on Anda to the 9,000 of Winston. These gaps are just really just widening as far as it is. But honestly, those are the 2 differences. Like 13,000 to 12, sure, that doesn't matter too much for Gio. Even though he's farming splendidly, it doesn't really impact as much until he gets to fight someone, right? Like, yes, it's great that he's constantly applying this pressure. TSM Academy has learned their lesson. They say, nope, Evolved, you do not fight him, you only answer the wave when it crashes against the turret. We have to wait until we have resources available to really look for that. Evil Geniuses isn't giving them the time of day, or really the room, honestly, to do such a play. And with them playing around these objective timers, we have 15 seconds until Mountain Drake is available. Sure, I could say you could look for better improvement for their vision control into game 2, but so far, this chase team that they've built up has been doing really well in creating a bubble and a control zone for them to kite out for these dragons once they were able to get the lead.
Yeah, I really like what Lily is doing here in this comp. We'll talk about that in a second because the Soul Dragon's burning down so fast. It is going to be Ender that grabs it, but TSM going to try and win the remaining team fight here. A massive ulti though from Giyu. He's going to dive back in onto Lost. Lost hasn't died yet this game, but Dokla's going to get the shutdown in on as Lost is unstoppable. Takes down Giyu. Kumo now the one actually on screen and trying to dive Lost, but TSM, they weather the storm with that team fight. Evolve's going to flash in onto the volley there to try and get the kill, and the point-blank bubble goes through the bear, but the auto attacks are good enough as TSM grab all but one.
Honestly, applause to Dokla and Winston for creating so much space, and honestly Evolved as well with those Sleepy Trouble bubbles. The only member that was able to get onto Lost was Giyu, and as I mentioned, with the Overheal and a Bloodthirster shield, he doesn't have the damage to shred through all of it, and Lost is able to take him down, and the rest of his team is able to continue to fight. Not to mention, the Sterix plus the Elixir of Iron was so much health that Evil Geniuses didn't have the damage to take care of it.
Well, goodbye, Matt. That's going to be the aces. I think TSM, that one fight is going to be the game. It's 5 seconds for Definitely until he's back on. The minions are still in range.
All right.
And that's one Nexus Tower. Make it 2 and make it the Nexus itself as TSM at a gold deficit almost. They're going to take the win in game number 1.
Hey man, it was looking bleak for a real long time there for TSM Academy. They were getting out-tempoed, out-macroed. 131 was doing perfectly. Just a splendid job from Evil Geniuses Academy and making sure that they were conducting it very well. But then it was that one fight at the Dragon. You had the massive beef that was Dokla and Winston on set and Renekton being able to push the rest of the members away. No one was able to get onto Lost, and Lost was able to do Caitlyn things and just snipe away, take out Giyu, take out the rest of the members of Evil Geniuses Academy, and luckily the death timers were long enough for them to walk straight down mid lane and parade to get this first game.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at this draft here to kind of recap this game, pretty solid, I think, from either side. Like, Aurelia maybe a bit absent from this ban list more than anything else, but I don't think that's a situation they'll find themselves in again, especially blinding Zoe when Aurelia is up. I think was maybe something that just slipped the minds of TSM.
True.
I love what EG brought to the table draft-wise, but it's really hard to evaluate that game because, like, literally as they were pushing after getting that almost ace, they were still down 1,000 gold. And then the game ended and they were up about 1,000 by the end. Like,
it was nuts, honestly, because the way that gold just swung, like they had a very, very poor Baron power play performance, and they were at almost a 5,000, 6,000 gold deficit during that time. And the fact that one fight swings the gold lead all the way back into their favor by 1K is really phenomenal for them to find all of those shutdowns. And honestly, it just tells you that, yeah, you can out farm, but if they kill you, they get that shutdown gold for you farming so darn well. So honestly, maybe calm it down a little bit. Look for some more kills instead of minions.
All right, we'll have a look at the mid lane matchup because that is one of the places we did want to highlight. And in this game, Giyu had Evolve's number, absolutely. I mean, it is Aurelia, which I think is perfectly good, if not very good, into that matchup, and certainly a comfort pick there for Giyu. So I think from what you said, I don't think Giyu's going to get it again.
No, the only reason that he would probably is if they decide, you know what, Lilia is a little bit of a bigger concern for us. Let's take that off the board. And Evolved is confident to say, I have an answer for it. We're not going to blind pick mid this time around. If Evil Geniuses decides to take either blue or red side, that is up on the table for them because the draft will fairly much tell if they decide to pull that Aurelia ban out or not. But honestly, you got to give it to Giyu for just doing so well on a comfort pick of his. It shows you cannot disrespect this guy. Yes, his stats don't look amazing, but his play is immaculate.
Yeah, I will say, looking at those numbers, Evolves actually did very well given the situation he was in. So his gold didn't look good, but comparing those numbers there, Evolved actually did very well on the Zoe, which is something you highlighted in that final team fight as well. So perhaps maybe just happy to take the L there in the matchup, as you mentioned. We are going to take a look, though, at the first blood of the game, because it was a fun one, to say the least.
It was a good old fun, real nice bout, to be honest. Like, it was a little scrappy, sure, but honestly, the fact that you're able to pick it up, I believe it went over to set, honestly, for Winston. He was able to snag it. So for them, not too bad. It helps them keep up, but honestly, nothing really came out of it, though. Like, yes, you were able to grab it, get some pressure, but then Evil Geniuses was able to sort of swing it all the way back. Like, this is the whole Herald fight, Dokla jumping in onto Anda, and they try and find that kill. Matt creates that space. Kumo is way too far to do any kind of answering whatsoever, and as a matter of fact, it was Lost who was able to get it. Excuse me, as honestly, even then, like, it didn't really feel impactful. The Herald being taken was more impactful, yes,
right,
but the first blood going over to him didn't really do too much because it sort of told Evil Geniuses, okay, don't play against this Caitlyn, let's detour around it. And it was just one fight where Lost was in the game and decided, okay, well, I can survive against Gyu, I can take the rest of the fight and win it for my team.
Yeah, I think this game did stall a little in the mid game, and EG actually took advantage of a lot of those situations. We'll have a look at Deftly now and just look at how good his stats were, because he is someone that is constantly putting up numbers for EG and is very important. Those are pretty good numbers. Let's say
pretty good.
To put it lightly.
Yeah, and we were mentioning it before the series even started that definitely in Lost, this is one of those highlight matchups that we're going to be considering because of how impactful they can be. Definitely being more of that pillar, making sure that everything goes according to plan for Evil Geniuses, but Lost is always that wild card factor, right? And it really showed here. Like, yes, he was able to outfarm on the Ashe, and it put Lost in a really, like, sort of awkward position, being able to do the damage, but not being able to control lane tempo. And even though definitely did inevitably lose that game, did get picked off by Dokla in the end, you have other members who, honestly, like with Treats as well, was just able to dominate on top of Winston being able to help peel away those members and make sure that Gyu and Anda aren't able to get to Lost.
And speaking of Lost, his numbers speak for themselves with all the support that his teammates were able to give him. Continuing to, I'm sure, keep at number one in KDA. Massive amount of damage, huge amount of gold. Was really the only person on TSM that wasn't getting, like farming even or getting blasted by the opponent in their matchup. So, and I think when we look back at that last team fight, just thinking about it, like, Lost was the person that had to put in all the work to make sure that happened. Like, everyone played well to make sure that fight was won, but Lost, like, is required to do all the damage given the situation the team is in, and he made sure he delivered without a single death in this game as well. So very impressive stuff from the TSM AD with his old support beside him.
Oh, for sure, right? Like, I mentioned before, Dokla being able to get the Sterix and the Elixir of Iron, knowing that this fight would probably be the end-all, be-all for them. It's nice, but if you have the beef, but you don't have the damage, then really, why are you even there in the first place? And that's what Lost was able to bring to the table. And if we do get that replay of that last fight, it's something that you create this huge space between Lost and the rest of the members of Evil Geniuses Academy, and it's just a nice, beefy wall for him with Treach, Winston, and Dokla pushing them away, keeping tempo, and you have that sort of middle ground zone control from Evolved, who is able to find those sleepy trouble bubbles on the right targets too, to make sure that no one is able to answer him, and set up those cupcake traps as well to just obliterate them with the headshots.
All right, well, a very fun first game, but TSM currently leads the series 1-0, but on the other side of our break, Evil Geniuses Academy will have their chance to tie it up in game number 2. So we'll see you in just a few.